Hello, and welcome to the Telescope Show. We laugh, we discover God, and we totally nerd out. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson.
And I am Katie Seipel Anderson.
And we are broadcasting once again from chilly Minnesota.
From wintry Minnesota. I was feeling very wintry today.
And how does that make you feel, really?
Well, winter is not my favorite season. Winter can be very beautiful, but I just don't really love the cold. And I have a hard time wanting to be outside. And I really don't like shoveling, and I've been doing a lot of shoveling recently. So I was feeling very wintry, which wasn't really a positive feeling. But then I was like, well, maybe I should just look up some statistics on winter. So here are some statistics for Minnesota winters for all of you out there. The maximum degrees that we've had recorded, 1917 and July 1936, of 114 degrees in Big Stone Clay County.
Which proves that we do actually have summer in Minnesota.
We do, and 114 would be pretty hot in Minnesota.
That's pretty extreme.
It's not really known to be a dry heat.
Just so for all you guys who don't live in Minnesota, people in Minnesota complain very much when the weather is like 90 or above.
Yep. But also, a fair number of people do not have air conditioning.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially in 1917 or 1936.
Yeah, that's true.
The minimum, which does not surprise me at all, is negative 60 degrees. And that was in our old home, St. Louis County, Minnesota. 1996.
96. I remember that year. I remember that year very clearly because we broke the record. And, you know, living in northern Minnesota, you have a bit of pride about the fact that you endure these horrible winters. And that year, Lake Superior, the entire surface froze. And that's a pretty rare thing, too.
Was school canceled?
They never canceled school for cold weather when I was a kid. Never.
Back in my day.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, the maximum 24-hour change of weather was in April 1982, and it was 71-degree change in 24 hours. That's a big change.
Oh, yeah. That's a huge swing. Well, Katie, did you know that the astronaut Neil Armstrong once threatened to sue his barber for selling his hair?
And I don't know what's more surprising, that the barber tried to sell his hair or that Neil Armstrong sued for it.
Yeah, right on.
Are they going to have to sign some sort of agreement from now on? If you're my barber, you are not allowed to sell my hair.
Yeah. Sweep that hair, put it in a bag. I'm taking it home with me.
Oh, man.
And get this, he didn't just sell the hair. He also sold the scissors and the comb that he used.
Oh, well then.
Got to have a matching set.
But, like, who would buy that? And is it creepy if someone would buy that?
I mean...
Did it sell?
Yeah, it sold for $38,000.
That's the real surprising fact of this whole thing. $38,000 for some hair and scissors and a comb.
I could see if it was the hair that actually made the moon voyage. But this happened in 2016.
I still think it's weird to buy hair. Like someone's, not like for use of a wig, just someone's hair.
I mean, I don't know, my dear, but that's what happened.
I don't think he had like long, luscious hair at that point. Most likely it's just little shavings of hair, a little baggy or something. Anyway. Well, Matt, it doesn't top Neil Armstrong, but did you know that there is a basketball court in the U.S. Supreme Court building?
Why?
So those justices can get their exercise. And basketball apparently is the chosen choice for exercise.
That's pretty cool.
It's for employees, so we don't actually know if the Supreme Court justices play basketball or not. But
I bet they do.
It was a former storage room that was turned into an exercise area in the 1940s.
They like, when they get a case they can't decide, they're like, let's go play a game of one-on-one. Liberals versus conservatives. Whoever wins, we'll go with your decision.
Well, I would be surprised if that actually happened, but it is called the highest court in the land.
Oh, man.
Get it?
Well, Katie, speaking of legal things, did you know that it is illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland? You have to have them in numbers higher than one.
I wonder how many other animals are like that.
Probably quite a few. I've heard lots of animals are very intelligent, like on a similar level to our pets, like cats and dogs. For example,
I've heard
pigs.
pigs, yeah,
Yeah,
pigs
pigs are
are
very
actually pretty
intelligent.
intelligent. And according to one of Willem's books, they can swim well, but you
Huh.
wouldn't think so
Yeah.
with their the little feet
I
and,
just
and
imagine
hooves.
them going.
But maybe they're so fat they just kind of
They're
bounce
very
around.
buoyant.
They're very buoyant or something.
Well, I think it's time for us to segue over into our conversation about Black Adam. Black Adam is an anti-hero who was created by 6 wizards who wanted him to be a foil for the power of the 6 demons who invested their power into a magical crown that apparently was created to create a evil, created to make somebody have the power of the 6 demons. It sounds all very comic booky, doesn't it?
Sounds very comic booky.
The
And
ultimate
actually,
villain.
you could probably make that into a pretty cool storyline. They just didn't in Black Adam.
Well,
so. And that's how I feel about it. How do you feel about Black Adam?
well, you know what? Okay, I have not been a large fan of the DC universe in general. We gave Black Adam a try. I enjoyed The Rock. I do like The Rock.
I know whenever I see him, though, I just think of like Moana
Yeah.
and the song like "You're Welcome." It always pops in my head whenever I see him, and it's totally changed my view of him. I like him more because of it.
Yeah. There was a little moment in Black Adam where the character Black Adam, when he first shows up, something happens. He's fighting or something. There's a lot of fighting in the movie, and he's being drug along the ground by some rocket thing. And it shows his face, and he just looks completely bored. And I thought that was really funny. That little moment sticks out in my mind. Overall, I have the same complaint about this movie as I do many of the other DC movies, in that I think they just packed too much junk into one movie.
Junk?
Too much stuff. Too many characters, plots.
I wouldn't classify it as junk, because then we wouldn't really care about it. But they packed too much. Actually, interesting stuff. Stuff that could be interesting.
Yeah, but it was junk because it was ruined by being packed in.
If you want to look at it like that, you sure can.
What do you think they could have broken off and made into like a separate movie?
Well, the wizards.
Yeah.
The
What's up with those wizards?
And the bad guys and all of that. I mean, that whole like crown saga thing, that could have been its own movie for sure. And then all the Justice League, it would be nice to know more about them. I'm sure they're in the comics, and I have not read the DC comics. So people who are very into the DC comics were probably kind of excited about that. But they haven't really been in mainstream media at all, so most of us don't really know that much about them. So it would have been nice. I mean, that could have been like probably 5 movies if you really wanted to dig into each of the characters.
And I have to point out, you made a little mistake. You called it the Justice League.
Oh, it's the Justice
But
Society.
the thing is, though, that drives home a point. What in the world? Who is the Justice Society? Because we know the Justice League, because they made a Justice League movie.
Yeah.
But then they just randomly throw in the Justice Society.
And that sounds a little creepy.
It's like,
It sounds like almost maybe bad guys, but the characters in the movie were like good characters. They seem very like moral characters who were likable and didn't seem to have some nefarious.
Yeah. And these dudes, they're good guys. They have an indestructible ship. They have this crazy underwater base in Antarctica. Like, they're obviously kind of a big deal, and we have no clue. Probably because we're casual fans, but that's the point, right? Casual fans have not had enough time to learn all this stuff. And we are like, okay, who are these characters? Who is this Justice Society? Is it like the Justice League? Is it like the Justice League's weird little brother?
Or Big Brother?
Or Big Brother? Who are these wizards? It's just a
Matt, you
whirlwind.
sound kind of passionate about this. How do you really feel about how this whole thing went down? You know what? This could probably be an episode all by itself. Let's just ask you what you think about Black Adam as a character. Like, what do you think about him as a...
Well, he's a pretty cool character with a well thought out backstory, like you said. And they try to develop the character maybe a little bit. But again, over the course of one movie, with all this backstory, you don't really see his character develop like you could if you got to see more of him. I think I like Black Adam because he's the kind of guy who just comes in, sees a problem, no messing around, just deals with it. That's kind of satisfying.
He gets it done.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what the cost is. Doesn't matter who he hurts. He's going to get it done.
He just kicks butt. And as long as it's not my butt, it's the butt of my enemy, I'm good with it.
It's all good. Yeah, then it's okay. As long as it's not my son that's being, thrown from a rocket or something. That's fine.
Right.
Which leads us into the other side of it.
What don't we like about Black Adam?
Kind of that moral ambiguity. Violence first, then questions. Let's just get this done. I'm a law unto myself. I have no higher power that's telling me what's right and wrong. And I think we do all have kind of morality built into us. It's like a function of being created in God's image. We have like a morality that's just kind of built into us. We do have a sense of right and wrong, but that can get so skewed because we also have this nature within us that is very selfish, self-centered, or easily swayed from one thing to another. So it's easy to have a skewed sense of morality, looking at the world through our own tunnel vision or through our own feelings.
Yeah, and this plays out in our everyday lives all the time. All of us have this drive to be moral people, no matter what our worldview is, but we never can live up to our highest ideals.
And throughout history, anytime we see oppression or hypocrisy, which is all over the place, anytime we see that stuff, that's when that other side of people wins out.
And for me, when I recognize this about myself, it really just drives me to realize I need help, and I need help from something greater than myself. And for me, that is Jesus Christ, a Savior that reconciles the fact that I am made in God's image, but I'm also a broken human being. Jesus dies for my sin, and I have freedom from guilt. In the times that I don't do what I know is right can be put in my past, but also the recognition of the fact that I am valuable as a human being and as being made in God's image.
It brings calm to the chaos within us, which this isn't very spiritual, but which is what the DC needs to do. They kind of have like chaos going on. They have like, I don't know how many different Batmans and how many different Supermans. And now they've got Black Adam, which introduced a whole bunch of new characters that we have no idea who they are. So I think someone needs to swoop in and bring clarity to the chaos.
Yeah, and in our kind of modern context, there can be this resistance to external moral authority, right? But also, I think that this whole situation with DC really illustrates the need for leadership and authority because, like you said, there's a lot of chaos in the DC universe. And so DC has recognized this, and in November, DC Films actually changed their name to DC Studios. And James Gunn and Peter Safran have been announced as co-CEOs / co-chairmen, overseeing the future of DC projects, including film, television, and animation.
Okay, so that means
these two guys are setting a 10-year plan for DC.
Oh, it's so similar to like what Marvel did.
Very much so. They have jumped in and taken the bull by the horns. They've pushed pause on Wonder Woman 3. They're scrapping Black Adam sequels. They're talking about rebooting some of the other shows because they want to make a cohesive universe that has a plan that it's all working towards. And I think that's awesome news for DC.
It'll be exciting to see what they come up with, although I'm a little sad that Wonder Woman 3 was scrapped. But maybe they'll come up with a different, even better Wonder Woman.
On that note, a rumor I heard about Wonder Woman is that they have asked Gal Gadot, who played Wonder Woman, if she would stay on as the character.
Ooh.
So we could still have Wonder Woman, because I think she's a great actress to play.
A great Wonder Woman. Well, exciting things ahead for the DC, it sounds like. At least we hope.
Well, we would love to hear your thoughts on the DC universe. What are your hopes? What do you hope they do in the future of DC? Who would make a good big bad for them to work towards, like a big crossover, sort of like they did with Marvel and Thanos? We're excited for what we have coming up on the podcast. We've got some interviews we're going to be doing this month. Lots of exciting things. We're going to be at some conventions coming up in the months ahead. So stay tuned for information on that. If you want to connect with us, head over to thetelescopeshow.com. Email us at thetelescope@icloud.com. We'd love to hear from you. Until then, love you. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.